Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. And today's Lunch and Learn is how to get your customers to fall in love with your brand. And this is a business connected lunch and learn as well. So for today's speaker, we have Anna Moorish, who is the founder and managing director of Quibble Marketing. So it's so great to have her with us today to take us through how you can get your customers to fall in love with your brand. So as part of today's session, so we have 30 minutes. So Anna has a presentation that she'll be going through, and you can ask questions in the Q&A box as we go along, and then I can pose any other questions to her at the end of the session. And if you're just joining us as well, please feel free to introduce yourself on the chat with who you are and what you do, so we can get to know a little bit more about you as well. So yeah, as I mentioned, any introductions in the chat, any questions in the Q&A tab. And don't forget, you can connect with Anna on Enterprise Nation if you want further support with your business as well. And we'll be popping a few links in the chat for how you can do that. Someone has just asked if we can enable subtitles. Let me just double check once Anna started her presentation, if we can do that in the back end of Zoom. I will just double check that. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Anna to deliver her presentation.
So hi everybody, as usual, or if you've seen me talk before, you'll know I have a lot of information to get through. Yeah, don't hesitate to make notes, and also to even make a comment or something at the end. Obviously this will be recorded and you can rewatch it as well later on. Obviously, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can at the end. So yeah, happy Valentine's Day. So today we're going to talk about how to get your customers to fall in love with your brand. So just a few session takeaways. So what are we going to be looking at? We're going to look at how we can get your business to not just be a business, but also turn it into an actual brand and what that actually means. We're going to look at how you can actually build a fan base or a community around your business that will then champion your business, your products, your services, and how that actually then turns into repeat business. So quick intro. So I've been in the marketing space for just over 10 years now. I've worked both online, offline, I've worked agency, and I've worked in-house, and I've worked with a variety of businesses as well, large and small startups and well-established businesses. So yes, lots of varied types of companies in there. But we're here today to talk about how to get customers to fall in love with your brand. First things first, you've got to build a personality around your business. So as I mentioned at the very start there, a business is essentially an entity, and we've got to think about, what does this business entity, how do we actually turn it into a brand? So essentially, you've got to think about this business as a person, give it a personality. So it can't be a faceless corporation if you want to connect with your audience. So you've got to think about, how can you actually approach them? What kind of tone of language are you going to be using? What are your values as well? And how can people approach you, and how are you actually going to connect with them? So think about it as a human, and how you can actually start building that out. So just a few examples here of brands that you'll more than likely be familiar with. I say more than likely, you will be familiar with. First off, we have Red Bull. They are a business, but they are also a well-known brand. And they're a brand for, essentially they encompass excitement, adventure. They do a lot of extreme sports. But these are the kind of connotations we have when we think about this particular brand. Another one that everyone is going to be familiar with is Coca-Cola. So these have essentially made it their business to associate their products with any kind of happy event in their customers' lives. So Valentine's Day being an example, but it's all about sharing enjoyment and sharing happy moments and memories. So even think, a couple of months back, it was Christmas. And I know for me personally, and a lot of people that I know, it's not Christmas until you see the Christmas advert, which is the Coca-Cola advert. That's the one that matters. It's Christmas when you've seen that Coca-Cola advert. So it's all about happiness, it's all about community, and it's also about sharing those happy moments. So these are just some of the characteristics that this business and brand associate itself with. This is another brand that I'm very involved with in terms of I like to buy their products. So these are Toms. These are shoes, and they have a brand that's all about caring and sharing. So for every pair of shoes bought, they actually send a like-for-like shoe to somebody in need abroad, so in a third world country. So they've been doing this for years, and they've helped over 100 million people. So they're all about impacting those people in need. So yeah, a really great brand with some really great values that their customers buy into. I know if I'm looking for a new pair of shoes, something that's really comfy, I will automatically go back to them time and time again and tell people about them because it's comfy. Their shoes are comfy. They're all about sustainability, and they're also about, I say, sharing and caring. So how can you do this? So how can you build out your business's personality? How do you build this personality for yourself? So first off, I'd highly recommend outlining your core values and your mission statement. It's one of them things that people sometimes think that it's a pointless activity, but in actual fact, it's not. Not only is it good for you, any members of your team, it's also good to just put it in writing about what it is that you actually stand for, so you can actually, connect with your audience. For example, I'll share our values. Our values are honest or honesty, being integrous, inquisitive, accountable, and collaborative as well. So those values are then shared through the content that we publish on various different channels. So people get to understand, and whenever we're talking to customers as well, these are all different words and values that we share with them. Also research your competition. You don't really want to be the same as everybody else out there. You want to evoke some kind of emotion in your audience and into your customers. But yeah, at the same time, if everyone's doing the same thing, you're not going to stand out. So consider what it is that your competition is doing. Have a look at their social media, look at how they're talking to their customers, the kind of posts that they're sharing. Are they energetic? Are they adventurous? Are they really highly professional? Quite cold? Obviously, then you can do the opposite. And then also start thinking about, what are your customers' problems? What are they searching for? Are your competition or those competitors, are they answering those questions and concerns or not? And how are those customers engaging with their content as well? It's all different things to start making a note of and start building out this personality. Next, we'd recommend then defining that target audience. So essentially you create personas, these essentially people that would be your ideal client or ideal customer. And you paint a picture of them. You think, okay, well, what are they going to be looking like? Are they male? Are they female? What age are they? What are their jobs? And then you can start thinking a bit more about the kind of nitty gritty. What are their concerns? What's their kind of family status? Do they like luxury? Is it about affordability? So you can start painting this picture so you can then, once you've got these values, you can understand how you want to talk to them. You can start thinking about how you can connect to them via the problems, concerns, or how it is that they behave online as well. And that's building the personas is something that I would recommend doing now, but also addressing maybe 6 months to 12 months on as well, and doing on a regular basis. And then put those brand personality traits on paper. So have a think, and more often than not, they're going to be what, essentially who you are. You essentially are your brand in a lot of cases. So think about this character, put those traits on paper. And they tend to be kind of 5 main brand personalities. And just to list them out for you, they are excitement, which can be then carefree, could be youthful. You've also got sincerity, so you've got kindness, you've got thoughtfulness as well. You've got ruggedness, so rough, tough, and maybe a bit kind of outdoorsy. And then you've got competence as well, so in being successful, influential, and being that leader there as well. You also have sophistication, so think luxury, elegant, prestigious. So these are the different types of personality traits that you can start then to define your business as. And create a brand style guide. So for everybody, not just for you, so that you've got something written down in stone, but for your team as well. So everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet, because you don't want somebody putting out, really funny content if your brand's really serious. So think about, you know, what kind of content you need to be sharing, but also make sure that everybody is going to be publishing the same kind of stuff. They also have the same values. And it's something that's important for us even when we're hiring. You know, it's not just that we're looking at, you know, the skills of people, it's what values do they have? Do they share our values? Because that's the kind of thing that when they're speaking to your customers and your clients, again, you're going to come across it time and time again. And that's where you can start to get that buy-in and you build that brand personality. And by doing those things, so those 5 things initially to build that personality, you need to then create consistency. And that is what is going to be the key to success, is consistency across the board. But that's just the starting point. You've got to create a fan base. So what do I mean when I say fan base? Essentially, this is a community and it has to be an engaged community. See what I've done there. I wonder if there'll be many people getting engaged today. But yes, you need to create a community that are going to be engaged and they're also going to champion your brand. So these are people that are going to buy in to your brand values and how it is that you portray your business and the products and services that you offer. So creating an engaged audience is actually something I talked about earlier this month. But yeah, so again, if you want any help with that, obviously we're going to look through some pointers again, but there will likely be a recording of that, which we can share as well later on. So as I say, we've got to create that fan base. So the first step is finding out what your customers actually want. So this is, you know, maybe their problems. Are they looking for a particular solution for something? So consider what their pain points are, and then think about how your products and services help solve those problems. And again, you can start building a lot of that out through the persona creation that we mentioned before. Then you want to be creating and publishing great content. I say great content, not good content, because great content has a whole load of potential. Again, something I talked about earlier on this year with Enterprise Nation, another talk. But yeah, creating great content is what's going to get you noticed. It's going to help people find you online. So if you're publishing, whether that's web content, it could be blogs, it could be buying guides. So if you have particular products, creating those buyer guides and helping people actually understand what it is that your product does, what problems it solves, is going to be great. And if it's evergreen content, so it's content that doesn't go out of date, even better. That content obviously can be published then through emails, it can be through social media as well. But sometimes it's really hard finding, you know, what kind of ideas do we come up with, or how do we find these ideas for the content that we want to create? So there's some really great tools out there. So again, you'll hear me talk about this quite a lot, but also Ask is a great tool. You can add in any kind of keywords and it will come out the other end asking or answering what questions people are looking for online and in Google. So here, this is just an example. I thought of candles because it's Valentine's Day. And I thought, okay, vegan candles. So just put those 2 keywords into the search and also asked. And it then came up with what people were then asking as well. And I'll show you in a second where this shows up in the Google search. But it then comes up with all this string of different queries that people have. And this is essentially, you know, your content plan. These are, you know, problems that people have, questions that people have, and they want answering. And you can do that through blog content. You can do it through content on your website as well. And if you can do this, you'll be found, or start to be found, within the search results. So that was our first question. I'll just go back here so you can see which candles are vegan. At the top there's the main question, which candles are vegan? So I've entered that question in here. I'll scroll down ever so slightly, and this is what we call the rich snippet results. And this is people also ask. And these again are some of the questions that people have asked. And these results get a huge amount of traffic. Now, again, to help your website rank and actually be found for these particular search results, we recommend adding what we call schema markup on your website. And there's various different types of schema markup. What we would recommend in this FAQ schema, you have to enter in code base on the website or back end of your website. You enter your question and you enter the answer as well. And we recommend when you're doing any FAQs, a lot of companies and a lot of businesses will add all of the FAQs on one page, and that's okay for some general FAQs. But if you want to be more specific and be found more likely in these particular search results for your products and services and the content you're producing, we recommend adding FAQs and adding the schema markup on every relevant page. So it might be every particular product and answering questions about that particular product. It may be about different services, and again, you add some FAQs. It might only be 2 or 3, but add as many as you can that are going to be relevant. It may be also about sectors that you work in. So again, think about, you know, what questions people are going to have and add those questions on those particular pages. Add the schema markup. Also think about, you know, within that content, doesn't have to be a blog, as I say, it can be a service page, but include links within those FAQs for more information to help that user. You know, they found that question, you might give them a short snippet, but there might be a little bit more information in another article that you have. So think about the user journey as well. But that will help you be found in search. So then people can start thinking of you as the industry leader and the person that's actually going to give them the right information. So that's one there to get that great content published and noticed and seen on Google and other search engines as well. And as I mentioned, we need to create that strong brand that people want to be part of. So they buy into your values, they share your values. So it's great for when you're obviously looking at kind of interactions and considering that brand voice, whether you want to have maybe a sarcastic and funny tone, or maybe you want to be a little bit more serious and maybe more caring. Use social media as well to get in front of your target audience. Now, this can be a difficult one if you maybe don't get a lot of engagement. Obviously, we're trying to create that fan base. We want that engaged community, and social media is often seen as one of the best places to do that. You can create a community for any type of business. So you might think, oh gosh, you know, my business is kind of boring. It's maybe technology based, or it's data, or maybe it's number based, but you can create a community around any type of business and brand. Now, if you've got an old Facebook page or LinkedIn business page or whatever social page it is, if you're not currently getting engagement, I wouldn't recommend starting posting every day. Every channel is going to have its own algorithm. If you publish content that is not getting engagement, they are not going to start showing it to more people because people just aren't engaging. So you want to start getting engagement to start off with, kind of small, and then grow it. So post off slow and steady, post slow, so maybe one post, maybe even fortnightly to start with, and then maybe increase it to once a week. And then as you start getting engagement, you can look further afield to maybe, you know, once a day later on. But do what's manageable for you. Consistency is always key. But if as well you're thinking, okay, you know, I've posted this one particular piece of content on Facebook, for example, it's still not getting engagement, get your friends to share it, get your family to share it, get your colleagues to share it as well. So share it, like it, comment, as much engagement as you possibly can get. Also share that post and content within groups. So there's various different groups. Consider hashtags as well within your content. Another thing that you can do as well for old pages as well as new pages that haven't currently got any organic reach is boosting a post. Now, I don't recommend very often that you should boost posts, especially that's a Facebook or Instagram term for boosting. But for community growth, boosting posts can be really good. It's not going to get people coming through and buying your products and services, but it's going to help build that community that will start, you know, seeing your content. You know, they're going to engage with that content. So then those channels think it's good content. We want to keep sharing that content with them, because not every follower is going to see every post, remember. So you want to start thinking, okay, well, if we boost this particular post, we're going to get it in front of so many people, and then hopefully that will start to grow. So you could maybe boost one post a month, for example, just to start building that community up. You can also run competitions. Competitions are another great way of boosting that engagement and getting that community built, especially if you've got nothing in the meantime. Again, don't keep doing it. Don't kind of overuse it. You know, you want to essentially over time build it organically, but boosting and running competitions is a good starter. You can also ask for feedback and reviews. So this shows that you value their opinion. So again, that's helping with the getting buy-in from customers. You can also then use that information to help improve your products, maybe improve your customer service. There's a whole host of different benefits. But what you can also do is provide people with boilerplate content to make it easy. It can be hard getting people to review your business because essentially people have got to take time out of their day to come up with something on the fly. So if you can provide boilerplate content and just ask them to maybe edit it and then obviously post it for themselves, then that is a good way of kind of encouraging more reviews. Another thing to note is if you've got your Google business page, so you do ensure that you have your Google business page set up, you can link to your review section in emails. But what you can do, and I have, you'll see here, there's some reviews. I provided boilerplate content for these, and I included particular keywords I wanted to be found in search for. So, for example, there was locations that I wanted to include. There was different services and products that I wanted to include. So that helps actually me be found into different search results. Again, adding Google reviews is great for your rankings as well as Trustpilot. So if you have a Trustpilot account, ensure you have that integrated with your website. Not only that, so obviously it's got all of the ranking benefits, but it helps build trust. So if you're starting to get reviews, you know, people as when they're not necessarily familiar with your brand to start off with, they're going to check social media. They're going to see, are you active? Are you and do you have an engaged community? Do you contact that community? Do you engage with them as well? They're going to also have a look at reviews. Do I trust this brand? How trustworthy are they? So if you've got Google reviews and you've also got Trustpilot, then I say it's got a whole host of benefits because people then can start buying into and think, actually, yeah, you know, I'm going to give these guys a chance. I'm going to have a look at these. And next, again, kind of speaks for itself, provide customer service, but great and excellent customer service. If there's ever an issue, don't shy away from it. I think you've got to deal with it head on and make sure you can resolve any issues quickly. And also provide loyalty like incentives. So there's various different incentives that you can run. It might be something like you get different cards that, you know, they have the stamp cards. You can get digital stamp cards if people spend so much money with you. It might also be, so if you're service-based, that you actually give clients a gift on their annual birthday with you. So if they've been with you 12 months, you might provide them with a gift. Or it might be Christmas gifts. So for example, every year, Christmas, we always give out a Christmas hamper to our clients and they will love it. You know, it's just something, it's a little something to know that, you know, they're remembered, they're appreciated as well. So it works on both sides, whether you're product-based or whether you're service-based, but just giving a little bit of appreciation does go a long way. People remember it. And plus, they're also likely to then share that on social media. So yeah, another good thing to consider. Share your experiences as well and showcase your values. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, in a lot of cases, you are your brand. So share, you know, share your experiences, share things that are going on within your business, your brand, your life as well. But how does this actually make people love your brand? Well, people feel that you know, they're invested in you, that you're invested in them as well. And as I say, if you're creating great content, buying guides, blogs, you're going to be found organically. So people will see you as an authority within that particular field. And I say, if they're engaged in your social posts, they want to be part of the community, they're going to start speaking to other people that are in that community as well. And it's in our nature to actually come together and actually form these groups of people that have shared values. And all of this as well will help actually encourage repeat business, which is another great thing. And so you'll more than likely know that getting repeat business is a lot easier than trying to get new customers that, you know, have nothing and no familiarity with your brand or business. So yeah, we like to share the love. So yeah, I had to add a bit of SpongeBob in there as well. But yeah, what else can you do? There's PR, there's email marketing, there's remarketing, there's social ads, and there's also things like obviously abandoned cart if you are product based. So these are all different things that you can do to help spread the word, build your brand up, and promote your business. I know that we're coming up to a bit of time here as well, so I want to make sure that we've got some time for questions. So if you've got any questions about the PR remarketing as well, like feel free to send those my way. But yeah, that's a lot of information, I feel like, anyway, so hopefully we've got some questions. So there we go. I'll open the floor.
That's great. Thank you so much, Anna, for going through that. And I love the spread the love Valentine's theme as well throughout that presentation. That was great. Thank you so much. And I don't know if you can see there's lots of interaction on the chat, just everyone introducing themselves, about what you're, just people commenting on like the different topics you were talking on, etc. So yeah, lots of action in the chat there. And we've got a couple of questions that have come in as well. Asiya has asked, how can they reflect their values in the content they produce?
In their what, sorry, say that again.
How can they reflect their values in the content they produce?
So I think usually they're going to be values that they hold dear to themselves anyway. So it is naturally going to start coming across. So, for example, with if I use our values, I always tell people, we're completely honest, open, and I think, at any kind of business meeting I have, I always tell people, we're very honest. We're always going to tell you if there's a problem, but we'll also find a solution for it. We're not just going to be the problem makers or whatever. But yeah, it will just automatically come out in the conversations that you have, and again with the content that you produce. So if you are adventurous, or if you have that kind of funny value, you're going to share it in your content. Look, think of like Lego, for example. That's another brand that's, very well known for being quite funny, kind of tongue-in-cheek, very creative, and it just comes across very easily because they share really colourful social posts. They've always got something creative going on, so they might be creating new products. So again, like especially for Valentine's, we'll find that actually a lot of businesses that are product based will create a brand new product just for that limited period of time. And again, the values are going to come across in that, whether it's a loving theme, whether it's fun, whether it's something a little bit more adventurous. So it will automatically come out of you. I think don't necessarily force it, because sometimes if you force it, it can come across as insincere. So sincerity is key as well.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I think it's true what you said as well, in terms of like not forcing that messaging and just letting it come through as naturally as possible in your content. So I think you covered this next question just overall in your presentation, but I wanted to ask it just because it was one of the first questions that come in. So they asked, how do you create a fan base from scratch?
Really hard one. It takes time. That's why I mentioned the boosting of posts. So if you want to create a fan base, you've got to get yourself out there, and you are your brand, especially in the initial stages. So doing talks is great, going to events, speaking to people, speaking to not just other people in your industry, but your customers as well. So for some people it might be there's always different shows on, but local as well. You getting local support for products and services is a great start. But yeah, and then start talking in different groups online. So Facebook have so many great interactive groups. LinkedIn has better groups than it used to. So LinkedIn used to have their groups went kind of dead, but the groups now are a lot more interactive and supportive as well. So yeah, it's about getting yourself out there more than anything. Creating PR. So PR I mentioned at the end there. So if you can write a content or a press release, some kind of article that can then go to a news publication or an industry publication that's relevant to you and your brand, then again, you're going to get in front of a whole new audience that are your potential customers. So creating things like that is a really good thing. So we do a lot of charity work, so we'll write press releases and send it to the local news, and again, it just kind of gets our brand out there. They know that we like to be kind, to support other local businesses and organizations. So it's just taking those opportunities and maximizing on those.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for answering that as well. Sorry. So we've got two other questions that have come in I really want to ask. So someone in the chat has asked, what is the difference between boosting a post and Facebook advertising? Okay,
big difference. So boosting a post, so if you go on a page, you've got any kind of organic post that you put out there, you can essentially boost it at any time, and you can reboost these posts as well. So that is great for, again, you can set a criteria for this to promote it to new people that don't follow your page at all. And it's great for community building, and people usually will come to your page, they'll give it a like, they might engage with that particular post. And because they've done that, and because hopefully they've liked your page as well, they're more likely to see your content on an ongoing basis. When I say that, I mean organically. Your Facebook advertising is essentially completely separate to your Facebook page. Yes, you might get the odd person that will go and have a look through your page, but more likely you're directing that person to your website. So normally it'll have like a learn more button, or it might have a shop now button. You can create dynamic ads as well, so there's kind of scrolling ads. You can be a bit more specific with the targeting and the goals that you have, and I think that's the goal bit that's more specific. So for example, if you want someone just to land on your website, you can have that as a goal. If you want somebody to complete a form, again, that can be another goal. Again, I say you can direct people through to your website, but you also have Facebook lead forms, which are fantastic because you're not disturbing somebody's Facebook experience. You're not sending them somewhere else. They're already kind of on that platform. They might not want to go elsewhere. So actually for generating leads, not necessarily for product-based stuff, but for generating leads, that can be a really good thing to do as well. And that's something you can't do from boosting posts.
That's great. Thank you so much for explaining that difference as well, and hope that's helpful for that person who asked that question. And then I just want to ask one final question. So someone has asked, what are the avenues for asking people about feedback? Is it like through social media, emailing, website, or are there?
Yeah, there's loads. So obviously, if you've already got some kind of email data, great place to start. Send an email out. Try and build up maybe an automated review process. So someone makes a purchase, you obviously then follow that up and ask how was the purchase process, or how's the customer service, and then obviously you can ask them to leave that review and include the relevant links. If you haven't got that email data, yeah, a good place to start is social media, or ask your colleagues, or offer your services for free, or maybe give some product samples out as well and get people to come back to you and with some honest feedback. And I think that's important as well. Don't ask people to or some people might say, oh well, I will give you a really good review if you pay me. Never ever pay for reviews. And you can, like, I know I've seen so many businesses pay for Google reviews, and you can see it time and time again, and they're the same people that do these reviews, and it just looks awful. And obviously Google will then eventually find it, which isn't a good thing. So yeah, never pay for reviews. So yeah, social media is a good place, but yeah, if you haven't got a starting point, think about, can you offer any samples, or is there anything in terms of, like, for us, something we always do is offer like free mini audits, free competitor audits. There's no kind of obligation to work with us later on, but it gives people a bit of taster, and if they want to review us after that, fantastic.
Sorry, just unmuting myself there. Thank you so much. That was a great answer. Thanks for that. So we've actually come to the end of today's session. I realise we've gone slightly over time, but only because I wanted to get those questions answered for everyone listening in. But as you can see, Anna has a wealth of knowledge in this area in terms of creating content, getting your message out there. So I know she's put a few links on the screen to how you can get in contact with her. We'll also be sending out an email afterwards with a copy of the recording of today's session, and with a link for how you can connect with Anna on Enterprise Nation as well. And you've also got on the screen there LinkedIn and her email as well. And I don't know if you can see on the chat, but there's lots of thank yous that are coming in. So
yeah, I can see.
Thank you so much for
any
this
other questions, like, they can connect with me on Enterprise Nation. Happy to help if I can.
That's great. Thank you so much. And it would be really great to hear everyone's feedback as well. So we have just popped a type form link to how you can give us your feedback on today's session, because it's really useful just to get feedback from everyone listening in as to how we can improve any sessions going forward. And it's always good to hear what we're doing well as well. So I'm just reading, or I'm getting distracted by all the thanks in the chat. It's been lots of thanks. And I think this has been a great session as well. And I love the Valentine's theme, as I mentioned before. And a massive thank you for Anna for being on today's session. Anna, did you have any final words or a final top tip for everyone listening in?
Oh gosh, just persevere, consistency, consistency in anything is key. Like I said, with social posts, with your brand, and it takes time and habit. Sometimes it can feel a bit kind of forced to start with because it's new. So just keep doing it, keep at it, and it will then start to feel more natural. So yeah, just consistency and start forming those habits.
That's great. Thank you so much. And thank you as well to everyone listening in. And thank you for joining us on today's session. And we hope to see you on another Lunch and Learn soon. So thanks, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day again.